And so it is. This bliss is eternal. And so once again, we come together in this world to ignite each other. Little sparks, or maybe very big sparks, maybe flames coming together to unite, to be the fire, the spiritual fire. The spirit is fire. And so here we are igniting the world like this. This is really fun. So we always start with some music, and it's an opportunity to sing, to open hearts, to expand. And these days, this is a civilization where not so many people sing anymore, like maybe our grandparents used to sing. And so, what a great opportunity for us to sing together the sacred tones. Many of you I see here are familiar with Kundalini yoga, for example, as it was taught mainly by Yogi Bhajan. But really, Kundalini yoga, let's take a look at it. For example, from this perspective of awakening, we have talked about what Kundalini is and how it's really this misconception. But when you think about Kundalini as the divine mother Shakti within your energy field, and she has a pathway through which she can rise when she awakens. And this pathway, we would say, is upward spiral. She spirals out. And first she encounters your genitals, of course, because, she's coming from the base of the spine. But then she rises into more, maybe the second chakra, where she can feel different things. And if that second chakra within us, the portal is open, maybe we will have a creative impulse. Or maybe we will feel like procreating. But again, maybe we will, sing a song, create some music, create something beautiful. And then she will keep spiraling up. And as she spirals up, she comes to our third chakra. And, in our third chakra, this is our solar plexus, our inner sun. And let's say that we are fully liberated, which means she can rise. And so we will feel inner power. We will be ignited with incredible divine confidence. And then she comes into the heart. And if the heart is sweet, if the heart is loving, if the heart is already full, then she will enter that heart. And it is truly where we magnetize her with our love. So that's the importance of feeling in love every day. Love from within for no reason is her favorite. But of course, we can be very devotional and we can specifically gift that love to our Divine Mother, the Shakti, or whatever form she takes on for us. And then it is all about moving up, because once the heart is open, that's her portal. And that portal is truly what gives her wings. And we would say love gives us wings, but this love gives her wings. And so she keeps feeling now empowered to go into the throat. And then in the throat, we are expressing the fullness of our love, the fullness of even our soul. And then she keeps going and she ignites the soul's eye, which is our pineal gland, which is our what we call the third eye, the first eye, the most important eye. And then we have all these visions. We start seeing the light. We start seeing the patterns. We start seeing the colors. Maybe we start seeing beings. We are piercing into much higher dimension of our own being. This all is the awakening of life force within us. And if we surrender to her flow, she will pierce through the crown. And of course, in that moment, electricity is called upon us, and that is the electricity of the spirit. So this magnetic force calls in electric response. So we become truly electromagnetic. We become really system busters. We bust the system. And which system? Any falsehood within us, but also around us. We truly pierce through the veil of the false matrix. So in the past, of course, this was the way to liberate the being from the false matrix or from the limitations. But now we are in a new system, And in this system, we don't have the veil, we don't have the false matrix, but we still might have illusions within us. And these illusions might be living within our own belief systems or thoughts or mental body, physical body. But this is how the mother, in the traditions that call her Kundalini or Kundalini yoga, would actually guide us to experience this awakening. So now we are awake. Now she's awake. Now she's truly awake. Now our consciousness is awake. And in that moment, now she ascended. She ascended through the body. She ascended through the 33 vertebrae. So, we have many, many esoteric stories in this world, and these stories, by design, were told again and again and again so that people would wonder about them or feel inspired about them. And maybe they would feel even inspired to go beyond the story, to find the true meaning within the story. So we have the 33 years of Uncle Jesus, and these 33 years or the 33 degrees, these degrees are within our spine. These are 33 vertebrae through which the Shakti is moving through the mortal body. The mortal body is the body that we have right here, right now. You can see it, you can feel it, you exist within it. And so that body has a code 33. So again, the story of Jesus, which I think is very esoteric and it's just pointing at something else, is showing us that now we have been resurrected. We still have this mortal body, but now the Shakti has risen fully and completely, and she deleted all karmic patterns. When this life force rises the way I described, she actually is the grace. And the grace is not only upon us, now she has moved through us. And when she moves through the human vessel, then she deletes all karma. She deletes it all because her incredible energy, nothing can withstand. Plus, she is pure love. So, in the pure love, everything that we would call a karmic pattern ceases to exist. So now nature wakes up within us. She is nature. She is within all nature. She's the Devi. She's the Deva in all things. She's the Deva in the body, but now nature woke up in the person. This is, for example, exactly what happened to Sadhguru when one day he was just staring into nature. He was just sitting and staring. And that is one technique to awaken the Shakti. Because when we become empty of the old self, then what happens? There is nothing that is holding us back. When there is emptiness, fullness can occur. And so for Sadhguru, fullness occurred in the emptiness of staring at nature. He was not thinking, there was no thought. He was not thinking about this world. He went through a portal within himself, within his energy body. And we would call that, here you see it in this picture, I'm going to speak about this. That is a portal that I've experienced in higher realms a few days ago, actually yesterday, you see here, on July 18th. And in the higher realms, they refer to this portal, the single way door. And so let's say Sadhguru was sitting in nature. I don't know how old he was. He wrote about it in his book, which is called Inner Engineering. And I believe he was very young, maybe a teenager. He just sat somewhere in nature and he was looking at nature. He's not the only mystic who actually experienced the awakening of life force this way. The great healer that we spoke about many times in Germany, Bruno Gröning, many of you are familiar with the name, who healed very easily thousands of people all at once. What happened? As a kid, 4-year-old, sat in nature. He was in the woods, and he was growing up with religions. And so, as an innocent child, he had a question. He said, God, if you are here, reveal yourself to me. And guess what happened? Nature revealed herself to him as God. And so again, when emptiness happens, then in the energy field of the person, something massive can be awakened and take them to the next level beyond the thinking person. So what happens next? Now the cobra is above the head and the spirit that we call Shiva descends upon her. That's exactly what happens. It's like if you had two magnets attracting each other, but let's say one magnet would always be hidden at the base of the spine and the other magnet would be waiting in cosmos. And so there would be no tangible attraction, but it would be a huge potential. So at the base of the spine, we have the Shakti, and she's magnetic. And let's say Shiva in this case will be in cosmos, and in this case will be also magnet, waiting for Shakti to become tangible to him so that he can match with her. So when a person's Shakti awakens and she goes all the way, she rises as the ever expanding spiral up beyond the physical. She's resurrected now. She's beyond the mortal body. Then suddenly her magnetism becomes so tangible to spirit that the spiritual magnet just flies right in and meets with the magnet of Shakti. And we would call it the union of the divine feminine and masculine within person's energy field, because it's beyond the body, of course. So then the journey really starts. Now the person experiences the oneness of the mother and the father within themselves. That is the whole mystery of so-called Kundalini. Now, we've had many teachings in this world. They try to achieve this just at the physical level. Very often it would look like something physical, some movement or, breath. But breath, of course, is physical and non-physical. But it's very simple. And the key is liberate everything that is sitting on the magnet of the Shakti. And what sits on her very heavily is the human personality self when it is stuck in thought and stuck in lower human energies. And it really weighs heavily on her. And then she cannot really easily get up. She's at the base of the spine and she does a little bit of a movement as we know it in sexual terms, but that's about it. But if we just simply let go of all that is sitting on our own magnet within us, then the journey is really into infinity. When this happens within us, then we, of course, step number one, are restored to our original blueprint. And now we are reconnecting higher and higher and higher through our own pathway, which we all have exactly the same. The way that we descended is the same for you and me and everyone else. And the way that we ascend is the same for everyone as well. So sometimes we look at someone and we think, oh, that person is special. But actually, in a way, you could say we all are, or none of us are, or we all are, whatever you want to call it. The thing is that we have a pathway, and this pathway is exactly the same. So let's say that natural birth in this world is through the birth canal. So let's say this is the typical way the person comes into this world, a birth canal. Well, how does the light of the divine self come into the body? It comes also through a canal, but this canal is a channel, and it is a channel of light that moves from your divine self through your soul, which is another level of your being below the divine self. And because it's a channel, it's a pillar. And you can say it's like a chimney, it's a tunnel, it's a canal, birthing canal. And it goes from the divine self, the spirit, which is the brightest light, the most complete light that you are. We all are the most complete in this very moment. Nothing has ever changed about the level of our spirit self. The spirit self is luminous, most complete light ever, and it is eternal within a cosmic cycle. Now, through the canal, as this light descends, the light itself, it's like having the sun. The sun doesn't go anywhere, and yet its light travels. So only the light of the divine self travels through the canal. So it would be like having a flashlight at the end of the tunnel and shining the light of the flashlight into the tunnel. And so the light travels, but the flashlight stays stationary. It is the same with the divine self. The divine self doesn't travel, but the light of the divine self can shine and shines through the canal through which then the soul is created. Now the soul is on the soul plane, and now the soul is starting to also produce realities within itself. And these are like holograms, dreams, beautiful movies within the soul. And the soul also is now a body of light, but smaller and not as complete as the spirit self. It has a different function within us. And so now the soul body too is a flashlight, and it also shines its light into the canal, the channel, the chimney, through which that light descends, this pathway, and it eventually creates what we call the human. And so it's the human body receives this light, and this light travels through, in our physical body, the axis we know as our spine, and it is expressed through the openings that we call chakras. In this design, we now have 12 chakra system for all the 12 aspects of divinity to shine through all at once. Kind of like opal light comes out of us when this works really well. So for all of us, this is the same structure, and we would call it our multi-dimensional self. So we have the little self, the little person down here, and I'll speak about this door that is here. But to understand what's happening during this ascension process, we have to understand our structure. So that is our multidimensional structure. We are an incredible, and I don't know what people call the oversoul. I experienced all of this through Yogananda's teachings when he took me for 2 years on a journey up through the central channel into the soul, and then from the soul into the spirit, but even from the spirit then into the absolute, beyond any realities, beyond any individualization. So this is our structure. It's a waterfall of the most complete and perfect light originating in the spirit and then flowing down through this canal down to the person that we are in this world. Now, maybe you've heard about samadhi. Maybe you've seen someone in samadhi. Maybe you saw pictures of Yogananda in samadhi. Basically, when samadhi happens, that means the person fully opened up these channels within their being at the physical level, and it dissolved completely their identification with this world. They no longer even have the ability in that moment to speak because language becomes unnecessary. Thinking ceases to exist. Their identification with the body ceases to exist. And in that moment, they become completely identified with the highest level of their own being beyond the soul. They completely integrate even the soul plane. The soul plane too ceases to exist for them. There is no more story to be told. There is no experience going on. And they go beyond experience. They go into complete dissolution at the level that we would call here physical plane. But they also have now absorbed their soul and their soul actually gets also absorbed and reabsorbed back into the spirit. So when that happens, it's complete nothingness. Because within the divine self, there are no experiences. Experiences exist here, of course. We would say we are having experiences, and experiences exist within the soul. But actually, at the level of the divine self, it's complete nothingness, and yet it contains everythingness, and there is no flaw. Absolute flawlessness. It's so eternal and eternally perfect. So this is a long introduction to what we're going to do here today. I wanted to introduce it in this way because today we have a very, very rare opportunity that was actually made possible for us through the foundation of Orin and Daben, and we received the permission to share something that normally we didn't have the permission to share, and that is a transmission with Orin, where Orin takes us through this vertical alignment into our resurrected body. It will be so powerful, so life-changing, and I truly would say, as a mystic, which I think we all are here, surely we have maybe for decades done some spiritual work, some practices, and I think about this every day, how to be efficient as a mystic. You know, I want to be efficient as a mystic. That means if I spend 5 minutes doing something, I want to see results. So if I'm going to be doing a breathing exercise, I want to be doing the most powerful breathing exercise that will shift me into something that I haven't been just yet. If I'm going to do any mystical exercises, I want to do the ones that deliver results, again, within minutes. Because, you know, efficiency in spirituality, I think, is also important. And if I'm going to do meditation, I want to do the one that's going to truly deliver a change. So today I've been thinking a lot about efficiency in spirituality. How do we move the needle? And I thought if there was one thing I would do ideally every day, I would be doing this one transmission with Orin that we will do today. From the many thousands that I have done with Orin, I would, if I had to, I would do this one every day. If I was doing any breathing exercise that would actually make a huge difference, I would be moving energy through my spine, up into my third eye, into the crown, and even beyond, and I would be focusing on my third eye. If I had to focus on one place within my energy body, I would be focusing on the third eye and gazing, 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 gazing until I actually pierce any membranes within the energy body and can have self-realization. So basically, today we will do what I truly know that makes a huge, huge difference. And of course, if we repeat something, it becomes bigger and stronger until we reach a tipping point. And that always is a matter of energy. How much energy have we moved and shifted? Now, this all is very interesting because I think this is the safest way to expand into more of who we are. These days, you know, there are so many different things people do to push the energy out into non-physical. But then it's like having a lot of puzzle pieces that are all over the place. And how do you put yourself back together? So this is truly building a bridge. I have this picture here of the door, this single way door. And this is something that happened yesterday. And again, you know, when you open your energy up like this every day, you're going to have perceptions of other realities. And it just works so reliably and beautifully. So it's not random, but it's a shared experience that is happening collectively. So this was my experience with many of you, but also people that I have known in this lifetime, and I would say they are definitely not on any path of self-realization, but very nice people, very kind people. And they too were experiencing on the inner plane this single way door. So again, it's not limited to just those who do this work. And I just wanted to bring that up, that sometimes not being on a path can still deliver great results when we are in our kindness, in our love, and in our service to others through love and through kindness and through goodwill and through sweetness and through selflessness. So this door was presented to us yesterday, and first we were given a task, and I wrote about it in our circle. So if you're part of the circle, then you've maybe saw my post there, and I described it in great detail what happened. So we were given this task to locate, to activate, to open, but also to walk through this single way door. And so we did it. And a very large group of us, we walked through the door. And when I walked through the door, then I was so blown away to actually see and witness and experience with you all who walk through the door. Let's assume it's everyone here. And there was the Buddha of renunciation. And it blew my mind, actually. It blew my mind because to me, it meant we are leaving behind the illusion. The illusion that, I referred to it as the false matrix, but in Buddhism, I think they call it samsara, and other mystics have talked about it as samsara. We know the veil of illusion was pierced. The final piercing of the veil happened on January 29th this year. We know the false matrix fell apart, and that happened, the final falling apart happened on the 16th of March, so close to the equinox. This was equinox that really, truly changed our lives and realities. And so we are now, and we have walked at this non-physical level in the ethers. We left the illusion behind. We left samsara behind. We know we left the reincarnation cycle behind. We are now in a different design, and we are in design of embodiment. And so this is what happened. And, this is a huge deconstruct of our reality. I don't know if maybe you've heard, people talk about deprogramming someone. So we all were programmed to be in the false matrix. Every single one of us, right, got brainwashed by the false matrix programming. It ran so deep that nothing was left in its original blueprint, which would be the divine blueprint. Everything within our lives from day one was programmed to be within the false matrix. So now we experience in this etheric plane the greatest deprogramming of our being. Samsara left behind, delusion left behind, asleepness left behind. So now this is fresh. And what is to be now experienced as our truth? It is the divine self that we spoke about. So yes, we still will have some body here, and the body's changing. Every cell is changing. Actually, I've experienced unbelievable physical changes since yesterday. I'm actually blown away what's happening to my physical body in the most interesting ways, positive ways, I guess, surprising ways too. So when we move through the single way door, every cell has to also change. And within our body, if you listen to my calls for a while, then within the body we have 12 systems, and we have 12 systems that are connected to the 12 aspects of divinity. We were not supposed to have the digestive system that we have. We were not supposed to have the reproductive system that we have. And all of the other systems that we have, nervous system, endocrine system, all these systems were degraded in the false matrix so that they only respond to the energies of the false matrix. But originally, when we were created as divine human beings. So, divine human being, that means we did have some kind of embodiment in the light body. But the light body did have systems that were light body systems. So, for example, what today we have as our digestive system was not meant originally to be digesting dense food. It was meant for the digesting of energy, for the processing of divine electromagnetic energies. So our systems, our nervous system was never meant to be something that proves to us that something is real. Our nervous system was our connection with source. That's why we have to move through the spine, which is part of our central nervous system. That's why the brain centers had to activate. Our brain centers, our brain, we right now have two hemispheres. The two hemispheres are the result of the fall from oneness. And so we are coming into one brain again as we move into our ascension process so that we perceive God through our nervous system, so that we perceive oneness of all life, completely different nervous system. So as we move now through this single way door, we are truly reprogramming, liberating, this is liberation, every cell and every system, including our genetic material, of course, which has been happening gradually, but this is big. So again, just saying, this is what's here today. So we will now go into this sacred work with Orin. I just want to welcome Orin, who works through all of us all at once. We have amazing support from the great ones who know what we do here, of course, and they are guiding us. And so Orin will be guiding us. This was a live recording from a workshop, and it was made available in this shorter course. It's called Living Your Life Purpose, and we have the permission to work with transmission number 5 and 11. So today 5, tomorrow 11. And we will repeat both next week on Thursday on the new moon of July 24th. So huge ceremony. This is a huge, most important ceremony. Again, if you don't have the course, I recommend downloading it. And this one is cheaper than all the other ones. So I think it's about $59. And if that's your choice and path, then listening to this one as often as you can. And if that's, again, your path to meditate every day, then just to be very effective and efficient, this one will every day give you alignment with your divine self as the light that you are. So this is the highest level of our being. And we will today, we did this on the call before, so I was looking through my third eye. What happened? I mean, what happens for all of us here is truly miraculous. So I'm going to pause recording. So prepare yourself. Ideally, you want to have a straight spine. But what a powerful, 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 most powerful path of self-realization Orin made available for us here. Truly, every day, once a day, until we crack the code. We do have membranes that separate our physical body from our astral body, from our causal body. And so these membranes are exactly what Orin describes as the lens in the camera. And so we want these membranes to pop open. That way we then are able to perceive these higher and higher and higher levels of our own being. We're not going anywhere. We're staying within our own self with a capital S. We're just expanding awareness of these different levels of our being. And they do have to be self-realized. I really don't think mentally we can ever crack the code. It has to happen energetically. So again, if I was choosing effective things in this world that will make a difference to who we are, and I mean a huge difference to that point where we are resurrected from the old body into the light body, to that point where we can say, I was born again, not in Christian terms, but actually in energetic terms, where we can say that we have truly awakened or ascended. That is where we have something energetic that it moved. So I would do this meditation every day. There is time to do silent meditation, of course, as well. But in this case, it's a transmission of energy with visuals. So we are focusing our creative mind and we are co-creating our experience. At the same time, I would do breathing through the spine, just gently moving energy through the breath and learning to move, inhale up and exhale down. The other thing that I would do always, every day, quite a bit at night as well, is gazing into your third eye, focusing in their third eye, and then chanting your Om. The sound would be Om, and not audible, but internal, just chanting your Om in the third eye, and see what happens. When it comes to physical, I would do something like Qigong. The reason for Qigong is that it's the most ancient movement available on planet Earth. It is more ancient than what we know as yoga, as the movement itself. And Qigong is about moving energy, actually, which is in the field. And there is that sacred practice of Qigong where you move energy through the spine, and we know it as microcosmic orbit. So the combination of these, and practiced often, ideally daily, because every day we work with energy, whether we know it or not. So we want to be intentional about it. And then just watch what happens. Both replays will be on YouTube because both calls, even though they were centered around the same topic, were quite different actually. And in the call before, I explained our place in this cosmos, in the blueprint of cosmic creation, and how it works, and how actually every single one of us is a light being. And that light being is ever expanding into more. And I always say I have a suspicion that when we all expand into so much light, that our light becomes not only interconnected, but it will blend into one big light, then cosmos will go into the next cosmic cycle. So what we are co-creating here right now on this planet will actually create a completely new experience for cosmos itself, something that has not been known within Godhead just yet. And we are here, imagine, whoa, co-creating this. I mean, how awesome is this? And so it is. So I will not send any more emails for tomorrow. So just use the same Zoom and join us tomorrow for the incredible ceremony with Sanat Kumara. And then if you can put it in your calendars on Thursday, very, very important new moon on July 24th. And we will do both journeys during the call. So it will be no talking, just journeys with Orin. And that will be the one we've just done. And then the ceremony with Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara is calling us. I know that you know it. And many of you might be seeing the numbers that are being sent to us as a code, which is 144. So I'm paying attention since 1111. That's the most common numerical combination that I think we see. And that is everywhere, not just on our phones and clocks, but it's also in the ethers. 144, Sanat Kumara, calling you and me to be here tomorrow and on this new moon to fulfill our destiny. And so it is. Many blessings to all of you. I'm gonna hop into our circle now. I posted some things and I want to also see what you guys posted and respond to you. And we also have a chat feature in the circle, which I think we always can use more. And it's similar to what we have here, where we can actually chat with each other. So I'll see you there. Many blessings.